All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Leonard French, your favorite copyright attorney, here with a glass of my favorite whiskey and a plate of ribs. And we're going to talk about the Trump indictment. It's been a long time coming. I think the phrase I've been saying most often is that the mill of the law grinds slow, but it grinds fine. And we're going to look at what is going on. But first, give everybody a minute or two to get in here. Hello, hello. Coral, Tack, hello. Nathaniel, Robert. More beer, Grub. Hello, everyone. Gavin, welcome. Dice, Chris. I think my wife is in here somewhere. Sean, I count from 0. And Sapin Ball Wizard. That's a nice name. Raven Coder, Navi, Lint, Richard, Geo, Dith, John. Hi, everyone. How are you? All right, so without further ado, because this is going to be a VOD at some point, let's take a look at the actual indictment. It is 49 pages long. We don't need to read every word of it. There's lots of pictures, too, so it'll be easier for Trump to read. Just a joke. So what's happened so far? This is a U.S. District Court indictment. This is a federal indictment. For some reason, it's before Judge Eileen Cannon, but okay. We have some thoughts about her, but that's not for this live stream. And it is against Donald Trump and Waltine Nauta. I don't know how to pronounce Waltine. I don't know how to pronounce that person's name, but I think he is one of Trump's drivers or assistants or something like that. Somebody can clarify that one for me. And it's a grand jury indictment, so it's not, this isn't Joe Biden bringing charges against Donald Trump. It doesn't work like that. What it is Jack Smith, I believe, the independent counsel appointed by Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, who was denied a seat on the Supreme Court by Mitch McConnell. So there is some irony to that. Dermensha, do you think the word nuclear is being given more attention than it deserves? We'll find out. That's what we're going to look at here. So it's a grand jury indictment, and it charges defendant Donald J. Trump was the 45th president. He held office. As president, he had lawful access to sensitive classified documents. Okay, we're on board there. Over the course of his presidency, he gathered newspapers, press clippings, documents, and things. You do that as president. I'm sure you do. Classified documents were stored in boxes, including information regarding defense and weapons capabilities of the United States and foreign countries, United States nuclear programs, potential vulnerabilities of the United States and its allies to military attack, plans for possible retaliation to a foreign attack, and the unauthorized disclosure of these classified documents could put the risk of the United States national security at risk. So, very important. But this is all just introductory stuff. So Trump ceased to be president January 20th, 2021 at 12 p.m. noon, as we all know. As he departed, he had moved out of the White House. There was, I don't know if you remember the time, but there were pictures of like boxes and a moving van and everything. And so he moved boxes to Mar-a-Lago in Florida. Mar-a-Lago was an active social club after Trump's presidency. The Mar-a-Lago Club was not an authorized location for storing classified documents. Nevertheless, that's where he put them. The Mar-a-Lago Club held documents in a ballroom, a bathroom, and a shower, an office space, his bedroom, and a storage room. I think they have some pictures here, and I just brought up some Google. Let me see if I can zoom out here. Some summary images from Google, but you've got documents in a bathroom, a picture that I used for the thumbnail, documents in a ballroom there. There's some other pictures of bankers' boxes, basically. Eager to hear about all the charges against the president. Keep up the work and here's some money for whiskey. Oh, thank you very much. Whiskey appreciates it. So, back to our document. So, he stored these documents according to these pictures and according to this 5th paragraph of the indictment. But we're not really into the meat and potatoes of this thing yet. So they're going to start giving you some details. On 2 occasions in 2021, Trump showed the classified documents to others as follows. In one case, in July 2021, so 2 years ago, Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster, New Jersey, during an audio recorded meeting with a writer. So this would have been an audio recorded meeting that he knows is being audio recorded, with a writer, a publisher, and 2 members of his staff, none of whom possessed any security clearance. Trump showed and described a plan of attack that he said was prepared for him by the Department of Defense and a senior military official. He told the individuals that the plan was highly confidential and secret. He said, as president, I could have declassified it. Now I can't, you know. So he knows that he could have declassified it, or well, whether or not he could have done that is still, I think, controversial, or maybe not controversial, as in he couldn't have done that. But as president, you know, that would have been the time to have that showdown. Now he can't. And he knows he can't, so he knows it is still a secret. The second one was August or September 2021, same Bedminster club. Trump showed a representative of his political action committee, who again did not possess a security clearance, a classified map related to a military operation, and told the representative he should not be showing it to the representative, and the representative should not get too close. Then, of course, on March 30th, 2022, last year, the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago and found boxes of potentially infringing, confidential, top secret, classified information. Trump endeavored to obstruct the FBI and grand jury investigations and conceal his continued retention of classified documents by suggesting that his attorney falsely represent to the FBI that Trump did not have any more documents, directing defendant Waltina Nora to move boxes and conceal them, suggesting his attorney hide or destroy documents, providing the FBI and grand jury with just some of the documents while claiming he was cooperating, causing a certification to be submitted to the FBI falsely representing that the documents were called for by a grand jury had been produced, knowing that they had not been. And as a result, he retained hundreds of classified documents. January 17th, nearly 1 year after he left office, he provided only 15 boxes, which contained 197 documents. Then June 30 provided 38 more documents, and August 8th was the raid, not March, it was August. Defendant Nora was a member of the United States Navy stationed as a valet in the White House during the Trump presidency. Nora became an executive assistant. Nora reported to Trump, working closely with Trump and traveling with Trump. Okay, so that's who that is. I think Nora is a man. It says body man here, but I don't know if that's a gender thing. So somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know the first name Waltine, so I can't help you there. Okay, so we're going to skip a little bit about the Mar-a-Lago Club, and we're going to skip to the classified information. So there was top secret or confidential information. The classification no foreign, N-O-F-O-R-N, is not releasable to foreign nationals, was also a classified information category. There's SCI, sensitive compartmented information, which we've recently seen that with the Marjorie Taylor Greene thing, where she appears to have revealed sensitive compartmented information that she observed in a sensitive compartmented information facility. The only individuals with appropriate security clearance and SCI permissions are authorized to have access to such national security information. When a vulnerability of specific classified information is exceptional, this is describing more about classified information. Basically, just because you are the president of the United States, which try to think of it like a board president, like you're on the board of your local church, or you're on the board of a nonprofit, or you're on the board of a company. Like there's board members and they have roles, and the vice president does this and the president does that. The president is charged with executing the regulations or rules that are promulgated by the corporations board. In this case, the corporations board is more like the Congress of the United States. So Trump might be president, but he's not king. He's not God. He does not have unlimited power. He does not have the ability to just take classified information from the United States as he's leaving his role as president. And certainly can't retain it. He can't disseminate it. He doesn't have unlimited power. So there are limits on this power. These limits apply to everyone. If Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden or Barack Obama did these things, they could be charged too. And they were not charged. And I bet you they were investigated by people who wanted to investigate them and hopefully find something. So there was an executive order that a former president could obtain a waiver for a need to know on classified information. Sure, okay. The executive... Oh, and there is this other thing. After the former presidents leave the presidency, they do still continue to receive some level of briefing, of classified information briefing, and they're even available to talk to the new president and administration if there's something that can be helpful when people used to be helpful with each other. So Trump receives intelligence briefings, etc. The intelligence community's mission is to collect intelligence. Yeah, we got all this. Here's a whole bunch of agencies and what they do. As candidate, so here's kind of, they're going to talk about some of the hypocrisy. As candidate for president, Trump made the following statements. In my administration, I'm going to enforce all laws concerning the protection of classified information. No one will be above the law, says Trump. We also need to fight this battle by collecting intelligence and then protecting our classified secrets. We can't have someone in the Oval Office who doesn't understand the meaning of the word confidential or classified. So these were things he said on the campaign trail. One of the first things we must do is enforce all classification rules and to enforce all laws relating to the handling of classified information. We also need the best protection of classified information. Service members here in North Carolina have risked their lives to acquire classified intelligence to protect our country. He also issued a statement about classified information. Head of the executive branch, commander-in-chief, I have a unique constitutional responsibility to protect the nation's classified information, etc. And then we get into the retention of the documents. In January 2021, as he was preparing to leave the White House, Trump and Nauta packed items, including some of Trump's boxes. Trump was personally involved. He caused the boxes to be transported to the Mar-a-Lago club. Some of Trump's boxes were stored in the Mar-a-Lago club's white and gold ballroom, in which events and gatherings took place. The boxes were, for a time, stacked on the ballroom's stage as depicted in the sort of black and white. This is like a photocopier photograph or someone who scanned this and forgot to use the color setting on the scanner. But the image I think they're trying to portray is one of these, this sort of, well, I can't bring it up easily here. Hang on, let me close my sidebar. It's the one on the right there is the ballroom, I think. Same one. So they moved these boxes. April 5th, he texted an employee to ask whether Trump's boxes could be moved out of the business center to make room for staff. Employee 2 replied, whoa, okay, so POTA specifically asked Walt for those boxes to be in the business center because they are his papers. Later that day, Employee 1 and Employee 2 exchanged text messages. We can definitely make it work if we move his papers into the lake room. There is still a little room in the shower where his other stuff is. Is it only his papers he cares about? There's some other stuff in there that are not papers. Could that go into storage? Does he want everything there on the property? Yes, anything that's not the beautiful mined paper boxes can definitely go into storage. Want to take a look at the space and start moving tomorrow AM. So then they moved it to the bathroom, where I think you've seen those pictures already too. This is the poorly scanned version of that one. So then May 2021, Trump directed that a storage room on the ground floor be cleaned out so that he can use to store his boxes. Why are they going over all the places he put the boxes? Because every single little detail is another nail in the coffin of the attempted attempt to convict him. So, maybe if they presented, oh, he took one document and he retained the document until we asked for it and then he gave it back. If he had done that, that would be a very flimsy case. But if you have one instance where he says, I gave the documents back, if you got 2 instances, 3 instances, 4 instances, if you got 10 instances where he says, I gave the documents back and he didn't give the documents back, that's much closer to a conviction, if not quite over the line into an area where a jury could quite easily convict on certain facts. So what Jack Smith and what Merrick Garland would have done is research all of this behind the scenes quietly. They did the raid. Even the raid was kind of quiet. Didn't reveal a whole lot about what they found. And then they put together their whole case, and they only file the case when they think that they can get a conviction 100% of the time. In reality, it's more like 85% of the time, but that's still a really high conviction rate. December 7th, 2021, Nauta found several of Trump's boxes fallen and their contents spilled on the floor of the storage room, including a document marked Secret, Rel to USA, FVEY, Five Eyes Intelligence, is what that means. Australia, Canada, New Zealand, United Kingdom, United States. They're the only ones allowed to see it. Nauta opened the door and found this. Employee 2 replied, oh, no, I'm sorry, POTUS had my phone. One of the photographs Nauta texted to Employee 2 is depicted below. So this is Nauta taking these photographs of these documents spilled out on the floor. When you're committing a crime, you probably shouldn't be videotaping it. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm 43 years old. You probably shouldn't be recording it, live streaming it. It's going to be used as evidence against you. Why would you live stream your crimes? Why would you record your crimes? I'm not advocating for people to commit crimes. I'm just baffled at the stupidity of making records of your high crimes and misdemeanors. So some of the boxes were brought to the Bedminster Club. As previously described, he had shown them to people. And then the interview thing with the map created by the military official. He greeted the writer, publisher, and 2 staff members and stated, look what I found. This was the military official's plan of attack. Read it and just show it's interesting. Later in the interview, Trump had the following exchange. Well, with that official, let me see that. I'll show you an example. He said that I wanted to attack country A. Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look, that was him. They presented me with this. This is off the record, but they presented me with this. This was him. This was the Defense Department and him. Wow. We looked at some. This was him. This wasn't done by me. This was him. All sorts of stuff. Pages long. Look. Wait a minute. Let's see here. Yeah. I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, Except it is like highly confidential. Secret. This is secret information. Look at this. You attack and, by the way, isn't that incredible? I was just thinking because we were talking about it and he said he wanted to attack country A and this was done by the military and given to me. I think we can probably, right? Declassify it. See, as president, I could have declassified it. Now I can't, but this is still a secret. Isn't that interesting? It's absolutely baffling. Like, this guy is like a 6-year-old who wants to show his friend the cool thing he got. And it's like, look, I got access to classified information and I want to show it to you. At the time of the exchange, the writer, the publisher, and Trump's 2 staff members did not have security clearances or any need to know any classified information about a plan of attack on country A. Then we got to the other example. A political action committee representative. And that was the example we told in the beginning. So he showed the PAC representative a classified map of country B and told the representative that he should not be showing the map to the rep and not to get too close. And they juxtaposed that with a quote from him earlier in 2017. The first thing I thought of when I heard about it is, how does the press get this information that's classified? How do they do it? You know why? Because it's an illegal process, and the press should be ashamed of themselves. But more importantly, the people that gave out the information to the press should be ashamed of themselves. Really ashamed. I mean, when they can use your own quotes against you, that's pretty strong evidence. Or at least a pretty strong motivation. A pretty strong indictment. Okay, Trump's production of 15 cardboard boxes. So we know that he did produce something when pressed in 2021 and maybe again in 2022. Nada texted Trump employee 2 about the photograph employee 2 had provided to Trump, stating he mentioned about a picture of boxes. He wants me to see it. So here's the picture. The storage room, dozens of Trump boxes were stacked. Trump employee 2 texted Nada about Trump's review of the contents of the boxes. Has he mentioned boxes to you? I delivered some, but I think he may need more. Can you ask if he'd like more in Pine Hall? Pine Hall was an entry room in his residence. Nothing about the boxes yet, came the reply. He has one he's working on in Pine Hall. Knocked out 2 boxes yesterday. November 29th, 2021, Nada texts, or employee 2 texts Nada, next you are on property, no rush, could you help me bring 4 more boxes? Yes, of course. A box will be wrenched out of him today, I promise. Just checking on boxes. Would love to have a number of them today. So they're talking about the boxes and managing where the heck he's keeping all of these boxes and sort of organizing them for him a little bit. One thing he asked was for new covers for the boxes Monday morning. Can we get new box covers for these things to him on Monday morning? So I guess as the boxes, I don't know if you've ever used these banker boxes, but they're made to store documents for a long time. They stack on each other pretty well. When you fill them up with papers, they're about as heavy as a person can carry, at least a lawyer type person, not a bodybuilder type person. And when you start storing them on top of one another, like you see in the pictures, they do start crushing each other, and eventually they slide, like you saw in the spilled picture. I had this exact thing happen and had a huge fight with the person I was dating at the time because I had boxes that were spilling out all over the place. So yeah, I guess in a way I'm guilty of that myself, but it wasn't classified information, my boxes. So that's what I think they're talking about, is there's actually like some effort to try and manage all of these boxes as they do deteriorate, and he must go through them and look at things, and every time you do that, the cardboard wears out a little bit more and eventually things break. So they need to maintain the boxes. There were 15 boxes at Trump's residence January 17th, 2022. They took them to a commercial truck for delivery to NARA. What's NARA? I forget what NARA is. Nada made a false and misleading statement when interviewed by the FBI. He falsely stated that he was not aware the boxes were being brought to Trump's residence for a review before Trump provided 15 boxes to the National Archives. He falsely stated that he did not know how the boxes that he and employee 2 brought from Trump's residence to the commercial truck had gotten to the residence. And when asked whether he knew where the boxes were stored, he says, I wish I could tell you. I don't know. I honestly just don't know. When the 15 boxes that Trump had provided reached NARA in January of 2022, NARA reviewed the contents and determined that 14 of the boxes contained documents with classification markings. The FBI later determined the boxes contained 197 documents with classification markings. 98 were marked secret, 30 were marked top secret, the remainder were confidential. Some of those documents contained compartmented information and SAP, I forget what the SAP designation is, but markings. So the FBI and a grand jury opened an investigation March and April of last year, 2022. Does Trump still have boxes? Yes, we know he still does at this point in the timeline. So it's just a matter of getting to August and the FBI raids and finds the boxes. So May 11th, the grand jury issued a subpoena requiring the production of all documents with classification markings. Then May 22nd, Nauta entered the storage room carrying Trump's boxes, one of Trump's boxes. May 23rd, Trump met with attorneys at the Mar-a-Lago club to discuss the subpoena. They told Trump they needed to search for documents. Trump attorney 1. I don't want anybody looking. I don't want anybody looking through. Oh, I guess this is Trump saying in sum and substance, according to the attorneys. Trump says, I don't want anybody looking through my boxes. I really don't. I don't want you looking through my boxes. Well, what happens if we just don't respond at all or don't play ball with them? Wouldn't it be better if we just told them we don't have anything here? Well, look, isn't it better if there are no documents? Now, I'm an attorney, and I talk to defense, or should I say defendants, all the time. And sometimes they want to ask questions like, well, what happens if I don't respond to my court case, or what happens if I don't, tell the truth, or what happens is, and it's okay to ask your attorney for advice. So I don't want to be too hard on Trump that he asked his attorney, like, what happens? How can I get out of this? That's a normal thing, but it does kind of close the loop. It does kind of add a very salient point, a very important material point, that he is thinking about any way to not have to give back the boxes he has to give back. While meeting with his attorneys, the attorneys said, attorney was great. He did a great job. You know what? He said that it was him, that he was the one who deleted all of her emails, the 30,000 emails, because they basically dealt with her scheduling and her going to the gym and her having beauty appointments. And he was great. And so she didn't get in any trouble because he was the one who deleted them. So he's talking about Hillary Clinton's either IT guy or attorney, who I don't know what the exact thing was, but Trump is explaining that she got away with something because they successfully deleted evidence or deleted emails or something. On May 23rd, Trump also confirmed his understanding with his attorneys that they would return to the club on June 2nd to search for documents that were responsive to the subpoena. They would conduct a search for responsive documents by looking through the boxes. Trump indicated he wanted to be at the club when they returned to review his boxes, and he would change his summer travel plans to do so. They said he did not need to be present for the review of the boxes. After meeting with his attorneys, Trump delayed his departure from the club for the summer so that he would be present on June 2nd when the attorney returned. Between May 23rd and May 11th, I'm going to make a guess. Just tell me if I'm wrong here, but I'm going to guess that the two attorneys that just quit are the two attorneys, attorney 1 and attorney 2 here. I don't know, of course, this is just a guess, but if you were representing him and he gets the formal indictment and you are now a witness, you can't be his attorney. So attorney 1 and attorney 2 might be the attorneys that just quit his representation. Jim Trusty, I think, was one of the guy's names. I'm sorry, I don't mean to make fun of someone's name. You can make fun of my name because of it, because of the karma of it. But just an attorney who's for Trump, who's accused of being a big liar. I think he's a big liar, and the attorney's name is Trusty. Okay. Between Trump's May 23rd meeting with his attorneys, they returned to review the boxes. They took approximately 64 boxes from the storage room and brought them to Trump's residence. Nauta removed 3 boxes May 24th. Trump spoke by phone. Removed 50 boxes May 30th. You okay there?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
May 30th, good afternoon, Walt. Happy Memorial Day. I saw you put boxes in POTUS room. Just FYI, we'll tell him as well. Not sure how many he wants to take on Friday. On the plane, he will not have room for them. Plane will be full with luggage. Nauta replied, good afternoon, ma'am. Smiley face emoji. Thank you so much. I think he wanted to pick from them. I don't imagine him wanting to take the boxes. He told me to put them in the room and that he was going to talk to you about them. Okay. So they are having lots of conversations about the boxes. This was not something that happened by accident. So now it's June 1st, 2022. The Trump attorney 1 is coming to review the boxes. and they were going to have Trump Attorney 1 be the custodian of records. So he'd be sort of the official, signing his name to where the things are and what the cataloging everything and maintaining it. June 2nd, Trump Attorney 1 was scheduled to go to the boxes. Trump spoke with Nada for 24 seconds. Nada and an employee moved 30 boxes to a storage room. In sum, before Trump Attorney 1's review of Trump boxes in the storage room, Nada moved approximately 64 boxes from the storage room to Trump's residence and brought to the storage room only 30 boxes. So what this section seems to be showing is that Trump and Nada knew that the attorney was going to have to review these boxes. There was going to be stuff in these boxes the attorney was going to take and respond to the subpoena by returning the documents, and Trump didn't want to return the documents. Or, I don't know, didn't want to get caught by his own attorney with the documents, or wanted to try and keep the documents by hiding them from his attorney. That's what that says to me. The false certification to the FBI. So then, Trump Attorney 1 reviewed the contents of the boxes in the storage room. He located 38 documents with classification markings and removed and placed them in a red weld folder. I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it is a classified document folder. Trump Attorney 1 contacted Nada to ask him to bring clear duct tape to the storage room. I didn't even know they made clear duct tape. Trump Attorney 1 used the clear duct tape to seal the red weld folder with the documents and classification markings inside. I'm thinking packaging tape. After Trump Attorney 1 finished sealing the red weld folder containing the documents with classification markings that he found inside, Nada took Trump Attorney 1 to a dining room in the Mar-a-Lago club to meet with Trump. After Trump Attorney 1 confirmed that he was finished searching, Trump asked, "Did you find anything? Is it bad? Is it good?" They discussed what to do with the folder containing the documents with classification markings. Trump made a plucking motion, as memorialized in Trump Attorney 1's notes. He made a funny motion as though, well, okay, why don't you take them with you to your hotel room, and if there's anything really bad in there, like, pluck it out. And that was the motion he made. He didn't say that. That evening, Trump Attorney 1 contacted the Department of Justice and requested that an FBI agent meet him at the Mar-a-Lago club the next day so he could turn over the documents responsive to the subpoena. Also that evening, they contacted another Trump attorney, Attorney 3, and asked her if she would come to the club the next morning to act as a custodian of records and sign a certification regarding the search for documents with classification markings. Trump Attorney 3, who had no role in the review of the boxes, agreed. The next day, at Attorney 1's request, Attorney 3 signed a certification as the custodian of records for the office of Donald J. Trump and took it to the Mar-a-Lago club to provide to the Department of Justice and FBI. In the certification, Attorney 3, who performed no search of the Trump boxes and had not reviewed the subpoena and had not reviewed the contents of the red weld folder, stated, among other things, that based upon the information that had been provided to her, a diligent search was conducted of the boxes that were moved from the White House to Florida. This search was conducted after receipt of the subpoena in order to locate any and all documents that are responsive to the subpoena, and any and all responsive documents accompany this certification. These statements were false because, among other reasons, Trump had directed Nada to move boxes before the review so that many boxes were not searched and many documents responsive to the subpoena could not be found, and in fact were not found. Shortly after Attorney 3 executed the false certification, they met at Mar-a-Lago with personnel from the Department of Justice and FBI. They turned over the red weld folder as well as the false certification, and Trump, who delayed his departure, joined the attorneys for some of the meeting and claimed the Department of Justice and FBI. He claimed that he is an open book. Earlier that day, Nada and several others loaded Trump's boxes on an aircraft and flew Trump and his family north for the summer. Same day. So then the court authorized search of the Mar-a-Lago club. We've seen this if you followed that story, so I'll skim through as much of it as I can. Okay, well, I don't have to. It's only 3 paragraphs. So they obtained surveillance video, they executed a court-authorized search warrant, and they found 102 new documents with various top secret, secret, and confidential classification markings. So then, there are 31 counts of willful retention of national defense information. I don't think we need to go through all of these. Count 32 then is conspiracy to obstruct justice. The defendants did knowingly combine, conspire, confederate, and agree with each other and with others known and unknown to the grand jury to engage in misleading conduct towards another person and corruptly persuade another person to withhold a record, document, or other object from an official proceeding in violation of the law and to corruptly conceal a record, document, or other object from an official proceeding. The purpose of the conspiracy was for Trump to keep classified documents he had taken with him from the White House and to hide and conceal them from a federal grand jury. So they go through all the facts the same way we went above. They just summarize them for the count. So count 33 is withholding a document or record. Count 34 is corruptly concealing a document or record. Count 35 is concealing a document in a federal investigation. Count 36, scheme to conceal. Count 37, false statements and representations about the diligent search was conducted, etc. Count 38, false statements and representations against Walt Nauta. Yeah, and this was his interview. I wish I could tell you. I don't know. I just don't know where the boxes are, he says. And that's an indictment brought by Jack Smith. So that's the independent counsel. Remember, an independent counsel is appointed by the Attorney General when it would look really political if Merrick Garland or Joe Biden himself went after Donald Trump. Instead, they appointed someone who did not have a dog in the fight, did not have a conflict of interest in that manner, and this is the case that Jack Smith put together. Is it a strong case? Yeah. Generally speaking, the federal government, the U.S. government has a conviction rate of something like 85%. It's extremely high. I think Japan is higher. I think there are some places in the world where it's higher, but at a certain point, you start to wonder if there's corruption in the conviction rate because it's too high. Or maybe you just don't bring cases unless you are sure you have everything you need for a conviction, that's what I see here before me. That's this document that I see. They took their time. The prosecution took their time, put together the case, put together all the facts that connect all the dots, and then presented that to a grand jury who said, yeah, we agree, and brought 38 charges. And the evidence in here, this needs to survive an arraignment, but this doesn't need to be all the evidence. They can find more evidence, they can present more evidence at a trial, of course. But this does need to survive an arraignment, which is the next step. Trump will be arraigned, I think, Tuesday, unless they change it. And the judge will basically read out the charges, or they'll waive the reading of the charges. And it's just the official notice to make sure that he's literally there in person, and he can't ever say, I wasn't on notice that I was being criminally charged. So he's very clearly on notice of what he's being charged with. If his attorneys think they have a really, really, really good case against one of the indictments, one of the counts, they might attack at the arraignment and say, oh no, this document was just a crayon drawing from his niece or something. And the judge might look and say, oh yeah, look, Jack Smith screwed up, and count 3 is just a crayon drawing from his niece. Okay, throw that one out. That's not going to happen, but that's the kind of thing that would have to happen to get charges thrown out at an arraignment. So the arraignment is just the formal notice of charges, and then the judge will start setting dates for preparing for trial and then picking a jury. Picking a jury is probably going to be one of the hardest parts of this case. You'll have to find people that pretty much everyone, the judge and the parties agree is unbiased. If they can show bias, anybody can get kicked off the jury panel. Plus, there's some preemptory challenges as well. I forget how many or how that works in federal court because I don't do criminal jury trials. Ikeda Hakubi, thank you for the $10. Really appreciate all of your support and all of your help. Let's see, do we have viewer activity here? Dementia, lying to your own attorneys has to be the easiest way to screw over your own defense. Thank you for the $10. Yes, don't lie to your attorney. Your defense attorney is for you to tell the truth to so you can get advice, the best advice for your case. Here's how you do it. If you really needed to tell an attorney, yes, I did it, and then go and present a case that says, I didn't do it. This is lying. Don't do this. You're not allowed to lie in court. But let's talk about reality for a moment. People do it. If you were going to do that, the smart way to do it is you get advice from one attorney and then don't continue with that attorney, and then go and get new advice from a different attorney and don't tell them you did it. An attorney can represent you, and this is how defense attorneys do it. They can represent you if they do know or don't know. They can, yes, represent you if they don't know if you did it. It's harder to represent you if they know you did it and you're on the stand and you're lying about it. I can't help you lie, so I can't help question you about how you didn't do it. So it's a very strange situation to put an attorney into, to lie to them and then sort of get caught in that lie while you're in the middle of the representation. Anyway, so this is amazing. This is epic. We've been waiting for a long time for this indictment. A lot of people, including myself, have believed that Donald Trump broke the law in many ways, and in more ways than just the Stormy Daniels thing from New York. You know how they got Al Capone on tax evasion? Well, maybe they're going to get Donald Trump on Stormy Daniels payments. But the Jack Smith indictment is the sure thing. That's the thing I think you can count on. Could there be a blow up? Yeah, absolutely. There could be something that changes something, but I give it a very, very low percentage chance, like single digits, that this doesn't result in a conviction. I'd be surprised if he wasn't convicted on all counts. But the stronger counts are the documents. The conspiracy part is pretty strong too, but probably easier for a jury to convict when they can literally see a piece of paper that you took versus text messages talking about trying to hide the documents. But it's a pretty strong case. I'd be really surprised if this didn't result in a conviction. The mill of the law grinds slow, but it grinds fine. And the irony of Merrick Garland being denied his Supreme Court seat and then going on to be Biden's attorney general and appointing Jack Smith, who indicts Trump. Yeah, sure, it could have happened that way with different players and different names, but it's still pretty ironic. What's the difference on some of the last charges, says Morbeer? Probably just details and a little bit of overlap. So corruptly concealing a document, like, yeah, of course he corruptly concealed a document if he also did all this stuff that's above. But here's one more count that can be added to the charges. If somehow 32 other counts don't stick, maybe withholding a document or record will stick. It's a little bit of the spaghetti at the wall, but when we think about a person throwing wet spaghetti at a wall, it's kind of a crazy thing to do. You would only do it if you didn't have any other choice. This is more of making sure that all of your prosecuting document, that your criminal lawsuit, your indictment is filled with all of the charges. Can you pardon yourself? We never actually got an answer to that question. He didn't try to pardon himself, so we don't know if you can. There were commentators on both sides, scholars who were unsure whether a president really could pardon themselves or not. And you can't federally pardon yourself from state crimes, so then that would be where New York could still get him on the Stormy Daniels payments. So how are we doing? Did I miss anything? It's a rather simple indictment. It tells the story from A to Z and puts the pictures in there and the text messages and everything. These allegations are not exactly what's going to be presented to the jury. So at the end of the thing, there will be a more well-developed case. You know, the Jack Smith, the prosecutors will have their case even more finely detailed. And this complaint is going to be just a summary of what they're going to present. And then at the jury trial, they get to present evidence to back up pretty much each and every one of these allegations, every fact that is alleged. And then they have to connect the dots for the jury in the jury instructions. And the jury will then follow the jury instructions and deliberate and either return a conviction, which I believe has to be unanimous, or return an acquittal, which I believe also has to be unanimous. And if they can't return a unanimous verdict either way, then it is a mistrial and we get to try again. But if they return an acquittal, he can't be tried again for the same crimes. So, any thoughts of Judge Cannon presiding over the arraignment? Yeah, I don't really trust Judge Cannon after the way she handled the claim of executive privilege or whatever, and the appeals court had to correct her. I don't really have a lot of confidence in her, but it's not like she can just, throw the case for Trump. It's no matter how biased she could be. I'm not accusing a judge. I'm literally an officer of the court. I'm not accusing the judge of bias. I'm saying if there was a problem, she couldn't, a judge just, I'll third person it. A judge just couldn't go and throw the case for Trump. So I'm not accusing Eileen Cannon of anything. I'm just disappointed in the way she handled the previous thing. And yes, I think she should address that some way. Maybe she has to recuse herself. If there is any reasonable perception of impropriety or a reasonable question on the court's bias, then she should recuse herself. Let's see. Definitely not the documents. I don't think there's any dispute that the documents were classified. Yeah. Gonna need a month just for voir dire. Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be the hardest part, I think, is trying to choose a jury. And if I was Trump's attorneys, I would be attacking the thing all the way through on how you couldn't find an unbiased jury. That would be my defense, one of my major defenses. I mean, this case is pretty open and shut, so I'm preparing already for the appeal, and the appeal is going to be we couldn't get an unbiased jury. That's what I would be concentrating on if I was his defense attorney. You're not going to beat this, I don't think. Give it a good college try, and the attorneys get paid an hourly rate. Hopefully, get paid up front. I don't trust Trump to pay you, but give it a good old college try and do your best to defend. But I think you're going to be concentrating on trying to get the thing thrown out on an appeal. Odds of Trump being able to find a lawyer, I think he's already got lawyers. Whether or not he pays them, what they're working for, like, is it the prestige of having represented Donald Trump? Like, if Joe Biden knocked on my door and said, Leonard, I need you to represent me in this copyright case, it's kind of hard to say no, even if I don't really want to be that kind of like politically charged attorney or anything like that, right? Well, okay, so the two that quit, my theory is that the two that quit are the two that are now witnesses, that his indictment dropped, and once the indictment is official, they literally cannot be both witnesses against him and his attorneys, so they have to quit being his attorneys. So yeah, I think that's enough. I don't think there's anything else we need to go over. Thank you for your support. This is Lawful Masses. I'm Leonard French, your favorite copyright attorney. We have a weekly show on twitch.tv/lawfulmasses, but it will not be running tomorrow because I have a scheduling conflict, and so we did the live stream today. Tell me you are mad without telling me you are mad. Okay. Donald Trump might seek out Richard Leibowitz. Yeah, there we go. Richard Leibowitz is not, I think, not a practicing attorney anymore. Anyway, thank you very much to my supporters in the month of June at the counselor level: Eevi, Ugly Grill, Torpedan, PureMagma, Eric Tams, TechTechPotato, Gutbrodj, King Aries, the Blood-Soaked Survivors, Kyle Siefring, and please do not credit this account. Thank you very much for all your support. Have a good evening, everyone, and I'll see you next week in the videos that drop. Love you all. Bye.